Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad to have you back with us once again. It's 6 o'clock, and that means it's time for our English Flash News edition. And as usual, I'm Daniel Cook, your host. Today marks the 4th anniversary of the tragedy that happened on January 21st, 2011, in which 4 protesters were gunned down on the streets of Tirana. 4 years later, a great deal of mystery still surrounds this incident, and the families are giving up on justice. The family members of the victims held a meeting today with Prime Minister Rama and several other members of the government. The media was not allowed to observe this meeting. Afterward, the family members, together with Prime Minister Rama, paid homage at the memorials of the victims. This is the 2nd year that Prime Minister Rama has commemorated the victims of the event in 2011. The families of the victims asked once again for justice and asked the Prime Minister to keep his promise and to make sure justice is done for the victims of that day. The same request for justice was expressed by Prime Minister Rama on his social networks. He wrote, "This is the time to seek another means of justice. Nothing but justice can finally close the case of January 21st. Many MPs and ministers joined the commemoration at the boulevard. After paying homage to the victims, Prime Minister Rama returned to his office, while the victims' families went to participate in a lunch organized in memory of the deceased. Minister Ermonella Felay announced the government's decision to give a pension to the families of the victims. She did not say how much money they will be receiving or address the 14 million new lek that the families have requested." There has been new conflict between the majority and the opposition at the Law Commission after the president rejected the majority's new draft law on the Supreme Court. The agenda for the commission was approved only with the votes of the Socialist Party, together with the Socialist Movement for Integration. The Democrat MP, Oerd Bulukbashi, asked that the president's decree be postponed, saying that it ought to be discussed within the context of the justice reform. This request was rejected by the Socialist Party, although the chairman of the commission, Fatmir Jaffa, did express willingness to discuss any article of the law that has to do with the Supreme Court with his opposition colleagues. On January 23rd, the Law Commission will discuss the decree of the President on the Supreme Court, and the law is expected to be passed to Parliament for approval during the session of January 29th. The Democratic Party is requesting that all citizens who own a vehicle stop operating it for 5 minutes on Monday at 11 o'clock in protest of the high prices of fuel. This is the first citizens' action announced by the opposition, and they hope that it will serve as a call to the government to abolish the circulation tax. According to them, it is this tax that is keeping the price of fuel in Albania one of the highest in Europe. According to the Democrats, this tax impoverishes the citizens and enriches the clients of the Prime Minister. This statement did not pass without bringing a reaction from the Prime Minister Edi Rama, who wrote on his social networks in response. "Up until yesterday," he wrote, "they were saying that the oil price is going to greatly increase. And then today, they are asking why the oil price is not the lowest in the world. Who listens to the Democratic Party?" wrote Prime Minister Edi Rama. After today, Albania's drivers will need to be much more careful when it comes to respecting the traffic rules, as the new road code will go into force. The new road code holds much stronger rules for road users, drivers, and even pedestrians. For example, for running a red light, the official fine is set at 20,000 to 30,000 lek. If this offense is repeated within 2 years' time, in addition to being fined again, the driver's license will be suspended for 9 months to 1 year. If the driver is caught by the police for the same offense once again, his or her license will be revoked. In order to recover a driving license, the driver must wait for the duration of a suspension period and must go back through driving school again. The Interior Minister, Saimir Tahiri, admitted that these measures are very strict, but he said that they are necessary in order to improve Albania's road safety. The implementation of the changes in the new road code will be accompanied by an extensive awareness campaign to ensure that drivers, especially youth, are made aware of the laws and the consequences of breaking them. The Electronic Communication Authority is trying to standardize the fees that are charged when cell phones from two opposing companies call one another. They hope to do this in order to promote fair competition between the major phone companies in Albania. However, the companies themselves have expressed some complaints about this. The head of the Electronic Communications Authority addressed some of these concerns in the report that he gave in the Commission of Productive Activity. He clarified that the goal of this standardization is to protect the consumers and to distribute the 4G network. He said that the fees have been reduced, allowing better competition and balancing the market. Regarding the elimination of roaming charges, he explained that this will depend largely on the EU countries. The chairman of the Macedonian political party BDI had an auto accident today while he was on his way to meet with Ilir Meta. Mr. Ali Ahmeti was on his way to a scheduled meeting with the Albanian speaker, Ilir Meta, when his vehicle crashed into a toll booth. Fortunately, he and his driver suffered only minor injuries. The official statement is that the accident happened because of poor visibility caused by foggy conditions. The Albanian Assembly Speaker, Ilir Meta, visited Mr. Ahmeti in the hospital. A few hours later, Ahmeti posted a photo of the meeting on his Facebook account, writing, "Today I met my old friend, the Albanian Assembly Speaker, as it was predicted, but the meeting was held in unusual conditions. Thank you all for your care and goodwill." Mr. Artan Grupi, Ahmeti's chief of cabinet, declared that the party leader is well and has only suffered slight injuries. Mr. Ahmeti suffered a road accident as he was traveling to Skopje, where he was scheduled to meet with the Albanian speaker, Ilir Meta. He and his driver are well and are being treated at the hospital of Tetovo, he said. Kosovo's SelfDetermination Party has announced that they have only one candidate for the position of party leader for the upcoming term. Albin Kurti has decided not to run in this race. In a media statement, the party announced that the deadline for the submission of nominations was today at 12, and the General Election Commission found that there was only one nomination submitted, the deputy Visar Umer. In a letter to the Self-Determination Party members, Albin Kurti explained the reason he decided not to run for another mandate as the head of the movement. Kurti wrote, "I think that I should not be the chairman of this movement. It is impossible for me to work in our offices with the members if I also have to be the chairman who directs the heads of the movement. Stepping down from the upper management, I'd like to get back to work in the lower levels in order to grow the organization." Albin Kurti said that he understands the concern of many of the party activists, but he said that he is confident in his decision not to run. That concludes our news for this evening. Thank you for watching. Please join us again tomorrow at the same time for more Albanian news in English, right here on Aura News. Thanks, and good night.